with Mr. Baird.
Good evening, everybody. As you can see from our curriculum update, I think there are many common themes. We are continuing to work on social emotional learning very heavily in our cluster cycles and our professional development. We're also looking at literacy in some of our literacy groups. One of the new things that we're doing this year is our Curriculum Associates Math series and the Masteries program, which looks at student learning and looks at growth and it prescribes lessons and things to go with that. So our teachers are working hard on that professional development. And as the principals mentioned, this is coming up on our mid-year diagnostic where NWA and our Curriculum Associates will be testing our students just to see where their mid-year growth range is and what that looks like, and then be planning to address that as we move into the upcoming spring. So as you look through those updates from many of the schools, you'll see those same common themes of the Curriculum Associates data, that social emotional learning, and then many of the winter diagnostics. So there's a lot going on in the buildings, but again, it's kind of built around those foundational pieces of our curriculum, which are the social emotional learning and our math and language arts series. So that's very exciting. Also, another thing that you'll see there is the differentiation component. All of our federal programs were audited last year, and many of them, things such as high ability, special ed, and EL programs. We discussed our programming, and also along from our strategic planning, we also saw a lot of comments from parents about those programming and how we've put kids into those programs, etc. So that differentiation is a component that we're also working in a lot of our programming and our professional development. Is when you look at teaching an EL student and a special ed student and a high ability student, there's really all of the strategies are similar. They're differentiation strategies. So our curriculum coordinators in our buildings are working very hard on the differentiation component as part of their cluster and PLCs. So those are kind of the common themes that are going along with the curriculum, and it's exciting, but it's also very overwhelming as we look at some of the new legislation that our principals have talked about in terms of ESSA, and we continue to make sure that all of our programming fits under those new regulations and legislation that's out there, and even some of those that are coming down the pike as Liz mentioned about the pathways. So that's kind of been a theme, and at times we feel a little overwhelmed, but we're just trying to communicate and stay together and make sure we're focused in the right direction. So, and it's great to have that curriculum team to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to Melody.
Yes.
You want to give us the community relations update?
And as always, we have some great things that have happened at Beach Grove City Schools. Several of us attended the 10th anniversary chamber dinner, and that was great. We're a charter member of the chamber, so we were recognized for that, and that was just a great evening. It was during fall break, and it was great, so it was wonderful. I put a link there. I hope you got to take a look at it, but Wish Channel 8 aired a feature on one of our bus drivers, Paula Kidwell, and her haunted house, and everybody had a ball with that. They thought that was the best thing going, so that was great to see that. We also received a large donation from Royal United Mortgage, and I'm telling you, I think you saw it in some of the pictures, but it was piles and piles of coats, jackets, gloves, clothes, everything, and that is going to make such a huge difference for our kids. Huge, especially this time of year. So we are really very, very grateful to them for that.
Have those
donation.
been distributed then?
Yeah, they're out. I know they're out of the room, so I think they've been distributed to every school.
Yeah, so what we decided to do is let all of the homeschool advisors take possession of the sizes that were appropriate for their buildings.
Oh, okay.
And then they harbor those over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And, it takes a little bit of time to really identify those who need those specific things. But they were outstanding. The boots,
totally.
brand new, everything was just gorgeous. It was great.
It was
Wow.
beautiful.
It was
It was
time.
beautiful to see. Boots and, I mean, just all the things that, when I see the emails crossing from all the schools, it's those things like, we have a student without a coat, we have students that don't have any gloves. And to see that large of a donation, it was just phenomenal. And we really appreciate that. And we have that connection through one of our staff members, and her husband works at Royal United Mortgage, and actually my son-in-law works there too. So it was kind of nice to have that and see what they do. And the employees are the ones that they donate so much from their check, and they raise $10,000 through employee donations in order to do that. So it comes from them, which I think is even more special.
And then for them to get popular items, I mean, they're, their brand name, their bright, cheery color, it's not like donated, like hand-me-down
It's like the boring stuff.
It was good,
Beautiful.
fun stuff, so that'll be great.
It was beautiful, so. And then, as you know, the Community Thanksgiving Dinner is coming up this Monday. I can't believe it's almost here. Steph tells me that we have 237 RSVPs from the community. That does not include our volunteers or other students who are helping. But 237, the deadline is today, but she'll check tomorrow, and as we well know, we're gonna have probably next couple days more added to that. I put a reminder on Facebook this morning that today was the day to RSVP, and I'll include it again tomorrow to make sure that everyone knows. But that's gonna be exciting and a really good and wonderful special time. Our strategic planning process is going well. I know Paul's going to talk about that later, but the discussions at the last session were just phenomenal. And Tanya and I led a group, and we had a really good discussion at our group about communicating with parents and things we needed to hear and things that we already knew, but it was just great to have that kind of conversation. With Education Foundation, I think I've shared this with you before, but I couldn't remember, so I shared it again. But Tommy Thompson's family is establishing a Tommy Thompson Scholar Program, which will be a scholarship, and it will begin with this next year for 2018. So we're still working out a few of the specifics of how much it will be for and things like that, and what the criteria will be. But they're very excited to use that request that Tommy had for the Education Foundation to use it in that way. So it's some good, exciting stuff.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you. All right, well, let's go on to the minutes. I just need a motion to approve the minutes for October. April.
I'll second.
And Beth, you'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so for claims, I need a motion to approve the claims for November.
I move to approve the claims for November.
Thank you, Jill.
And I'll second.
Thank you, Nancy. And then on the business update, I'm going to add this in. We need a motion to approve and authorize the 2018 tax anticipation warrants to make temporary loans of the school pension debt, fuel, and referendum fund.
I move.
Thank you, April.
I'll second.
Nancy, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Inside the business report,
Yeah.
I also put a couple of other things that I've asked for signature as well. So in my business report specifically, I talk about something called internal controls. The State Board of Accounts has required our school corporation to have a set board policy, and that'll come up a little bit later. But that set board policy was approved a year ago. However, there was a whole nother second phase that all school corporations are doing, which is training everybody who handles dollars, everybody at the gate, so they know exactly what they're doing. So we have that online safeschools.com opportunity. We've created a guidebook that I provided tonight in the resources. And we actually do an ECA audit process where all of our building treasurers are then audited with their building principal, then they use that in their evaluation process annually. And that has been a very long process, 18 months. Kathy has been really working on that. So I wanted to give kudos to Mrs. Statzer. She's really worked hard on this to make us a model for that. So that'll also be checked during the State Board of Accounts audit.
Tom, could you touch briefly on our cash flow?
Yeah, I sent a document and I handed out, I noticed that the font was like, when you fit it on one page, it was like 8 font. So I gave you something in 14 font, and now that I'm over 45, I'm working on 14 font too. So the expenditure report it really is coming to fruition. I mean, we really worked hard. Those were tough times, and I don't want to relive the January, February times of decision-making and changing a staff and deciding not to re-employ, but man, it takes time. And I'm always going to tell you that when we make staff changes and we make, very serious conversations, we ended the year with $353,000 in the general fund and $429,000 on the annual cash balance, January 1. And today, I'm happy to note, on October 31st, we had over $2.75 million as a total cash balance and $1.6 million in the general fund. To tell you how nice that is for somebody who does payroll at $480,000 every 2 weeks, $2 million is a good thing. And that's been hard coming. And I know that some of you were new. And Nancy, and Beth, we've been here. Those were tough times, December, January conversations, but I think that faith and conversation with our administration to make change is a good time now, and that'll actually come to a really big conversation in a few minutes to talk about the approval of the Certified Teachers Agreement and a raise for all staff, and I think that's an improvement as well. So it's a great expenditure report. As you can see, in this calendar year, we've only overspent in the general fund and only $18,000 at one time in the first 6 months, and then only twice. So we're really trending in a very positive way. I do think that my cash flow indicates a 1.1 or a $1 million cash balance at the end of the year, because this is the time when we run out of referendum dollars. So we'll use that general fund. So it's important to have 1.6 today, so that we can then pay for transportation and pay for those other things. But I really love this level of transparency, because then when I'm anxiety, you guys can share the anxiety with everyone. It's a good feeling from the business office.
And I'm going to go back and remind the board that, we provided you a fiscal binder with a lot of goals and a lot of details in it. In that, we said our goal was to grow the general fund by $500,000 a year. And we're very well on target to do that. And again, our goal is to grow that and grow that. We should be at $2.5 million in the general fund, or at 10% to 12% cash balance. And we are going to get there. We're not going to put a lot of new programs in. As we talk about staffing, I've told the principals, if you want something, tell me where are we going to change to get there. And what's remarkable about this target is we revamped the high school Hornet Enrichment Academy. We very successful. We've added a middle school Hornet Enrichment Academy that you heard tonight. It's doing some wonderful things. We added 2 new people at South Grove working with student discipline. We added 3 special ed teachers at the high school, brand new. So we've done a lot. Now, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears along the way. We've eliminated some positions, and some people retired, and so I think we've done a pretty good job, but the hard work is still to come to get to our goal of 2.2 to 2.5, and again, that's not going to happen overnight, but in the next 3 to 4 years, we've got to get there to have that security blanket moving forward. We know there's going to be some additional new money next year, but there's a lot of things that go into that, not probably nearly as much as this. So as Tom said, this will be a great lead into our discussion on the teacher contract that we're about to approve. So my compliments to our staff, business department. They've really worked hard to get us there.
Absolutely. On behalf of the board, thank you so much for your fiscal responsibility. We understand it's been difficult, painful at times, but your efforts are truly appreciated. Thank you.
And we're sleeping a little bit better at night too. That's good.
I bet you are.
Yeah, that's right. Spike the budget.
Okay, anything else before we move on? Okay, let's go ahead and do the personnel update. I need a motion to approve the employment recommendations as listed with the salaries.
I move. I'll move that.
April, thank you.
A second.
Thank you, Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next is a motion to approve the agreement between the Beech Grove Classroom Teachers Association and the Beech Grove City Schools Board of Education as presented.
I would approve that.
Beth, thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Nancy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so anything else before we move on?
No, I just think we're very pleased with our improvement, our teacher's salary. Our beginning base salary is $40,000, which when you look around the state of Indiana, that would probably put us in the top, you know, I would say 20 percentile, somewhere in that area. The important thing is Dr. Keeley was very adamant about making sure we added something to health insurance. So we added over $50,000 to our certified staff and health insurance benefits to try to keep up. So we'll continue to make strides, and again, I think it was the cost-cutting efforts last year that allows us to give a $2,000 raise to our certified teachers and to also our administrators. So we're very pleased with that triumphant recovery, and again, that $40,000 for a beginning teacher is a very nice salary, and then the $78,000 at the top is very positive for our staff. So.
Okay, let's move into the operations update.
I had a couple things. First of all, I think there was an update about the bus parking lot. We have completed our bus lot renovation. If you've had a chance to look at that, it is quite substantial. What that included was just kind of moving some fences and kind of rethinking how that area is built right back here. And we've extended the fence down towards the end of the building near the football field, which has allowed us to park our buses in a much more safe and efficient manner where we're not running into each other. In the past, we had about 1 foot on each side of a bus when you backed it in, and most of our accidents came in the parking lot where we had to back up buses. So remember the conversation, we were trying to eliminate as much backing as possible for the safety of our employees and, you know, to try and reduce some of those parking lot issues. But that has been a huge success. And again, just, you know, thanks Steve and his team for that reasoning and just kind of being proactive with that, and, you know, using what we currently have and making it better instead of trying to go and build something elaborate that would, you know, be much more expensive. He really thought outside the box, and it's come up with a very cost-effective and efficient system that's really helped out. And our only complaint a couple of bus drivers is they have to walk a lot farther because we haven't lined up. But if you ever get a chance, it is quite it looks a lot more professional. Again, just another step in professionalizing that as we've gone. You know, we've had a lot of changes over the last few years in transportation, and it's been very positive. So, also just real quickly, kind of want to provide a energy savings update. One of the things, you know, obviously with our referendum, we had the HVAC installed, and our engineers at Performance Services provide us with data periodically. So I just kind of wanted to give you a quick update of what they indicated. And just so you know, when they determine these calculations, they use sophisticated runtime and engineering calculations along with monitoring our bills. But a lot of it looks at, you know, power usage on old equipment as compared to new equipment, and then they use these calculations that you and I probably didn't have in basic chemistry or physics in high school, but in the engineering programs at the great schools like Purdue, they have some of these. But so in looking at these outcomes, what they have predicted is that over the last, since our initial, starting at Central Elementary with our HVAC upgrade, and then at our high school, middle school, et cetera, we've actually seen a savings of about $414,000 on our usage, and that's over a 7-year period. So divide that by 6, you kind of get a yearly idea of how much that impact is. And again, that's just because we've upgraded our systems. Just like if you upgrade your home air conditioning furnace system, you're going to see a much more efficient system. And you know, we're using 30-year-old systems, so that helps, in theory, kind of offset some of the upfront costs of the unit over time. Also, they've indicated, and this one's much more easier to do, is that we've reduced our energy about 25% in the district on what we use on a yearly basis. So we've lowered our energy usage by about a quarter. And that's just because, again, we just have more efficient systems. So those are kind of some of the numbers that you see when you upgrade the HVAC. Not only, there is some upfront savings, but there are savings long-term with a reduction in energy bills. Unfortunately, as Dr. Keeley knows, energy costs go up every year. So it's not real obvious to always see, because you're not going to always see your energy bill go down 25%, because I think it went up maybe 10 to 15% in the last year just from our friends at the local energy companies. But they're definitely having an impact, and as you know, the number of calls we have, the number of issues have reduced greatly. So it's been definitely a positive, and again, appreciative of the community support of our referendum and helping us achieve some of these things. And we actually have schools that are now rated as energy efficient, the Energy Star, and proudly display those on the front of those buildings. And that's a long ways from when we were having air quality problems, struggles getting effective temperature. Every building, every area was a different temperature, and we had old systems, and it's just a much improved system. So just want to kind of bring you update on where we're at with that. So.
And one last comment, I think the learning environment in the building is totally different. If our principal's willing to observe a teacher, you can even hear the teacher talk, right, because you have this old unit in the corner you'd almost have to kick to jump start it. And now those units are just so quiet, and the maintenance on them is less, and it's been a positive change in the learning environment in the classroom from the noise level and the temperature. So, which is very difficult because everybody has a different body temperature want when it comes to being in that classroom. So it controls it much better. So.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our quotes and bids and donations. We need a motion to accept the donations as presented. April, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, under our other business and information, we need a motion to accept the letter of resignation of Nancy Mobley.
I will move to approve the letter of resignation.
With much regret.
Yes.
Thank you.
Same here.
Jill?
I'll second it, yes.
Thank you. And then we need a motion to appoint Aaron Lamb as the replacement on the Beech Grove City School Board of Education effective January 1, 2018.
I move to appoint Aaron Lamb as a replacement on Beech Grove City's Board of Education effective January 1st, 2018.
And I'll second that one.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Jill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aaron, you want to say anything or wave to the crowd? Or? Aaron, it's really interesting. As you know, I really wasn't involved in the process. You know, the board does the selection, but the thing that stands out from my perspective is your involvement. You've been involved since your kids were young. You continue to be involved on various advisory teams, and I just think your experience in the community and the academic programs is just going to continue to enhance our board and help us continue to be as strong as board as we are. So again, your hard work and dedication has put you in this position, and we just thank you for taking the time to do it, because it's a lot of time.
Thank you.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the final one is a motion to approve the overnight basketball trip to Columbus North High School on December 28th and 29th for the girls basketball team.
Do you know where they'll stay?
They're probably a Holiday Inn or something like that down.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly. And they'll bunk up with like 4 girls on sleeping bags, and they do it very efficiently because they got to pay for it themselves.
Okay.
You know, the basketball program has to pay for it.
And they have 4 chaperones going.
Yeah. So.
I make a motion to approve.
Nancy? Okay, thank you. April, do you want to second
Sure,
that?
absolutely.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to our policies. We need a motion to approve the internal controls manual and procedures.
I move we approve that.
Thank you, Beth.
I'll second it.
Nancy? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we need a motion to approve the attendance policy for Beech Grove City Schools.
I move that we approve the attendance policy for Beech Grove City Schools.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then our last one is to approve the McKinney-Vento policy for Beech Grove City Schools.
I move we approve that.
Beth, thank you. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, April. All those in favor
Aye.
and opposed? All
I
right.
want to thank Mrs. Mrs. Story left, but I want to thank her for doing the last month, doing that presentation. I think it kind of enlightened us all on that program. So, thank you.
Okay.
A special shout out to our high school. They received recognition a week ago Monday for the high caliber and the number of dual credit, and were honored at the State House and had a nice picture with our state superintendent. We got a nice letter today from our local representative, from the House representative, congratulating the high school on their award. So that's a great job by the high school. Really, all the teachers in the district that lead up those kids be able to receive dual credit. And what we're going to do, she doesn't know this yet, but at the December meeting, we're going to present on the new graduation requirements and dual credit. I thought you and Paige would be a good time to present with the board. And that night for the board, we think we'll be done with strategic planning, so we'll go back to our December celebration and have a presenter. So Liz and her team will present to us that night to kind of get you updated on the graduation pathways, because they are going to change. So, but great job, and appreciate your hard work.
Okay,
And
do
her
we have?
smiling face will be in the Hornet Blast this week and on Facebook, so watch for it, Liz.
Any other committee or community reports? If not, let's move on to success stories, if the board members or if anyone else wanted to share.
I attended the Renaissance breakfast last Friday at the high school, and I just want to say that was a really lovely experience to see all those kids that had been, I believe they're nominated by their teachers. So it's based upon, you know, the impressions that they've made within the classroom, and then all those parents and grandparents and friends and family celebrating those students there, and seeing community members involved. It was the first time I had gone, and it was really a really neat experience. So thank you for inviting us, and especially congratulations to all those kids and their families.
I think the middle school has theirs on December 6th, if you haven't.
Yeah,
I've
got that one written down.
That's also a good opportunity. They'd love to have you if you're available on that morning. I believe it starts at 7:30. So if you're available at 7:30, 8:30, at the middle school on December 6th.
7:30.
I have another success story. I went to watch the high school band competition, and I don't know the scores, but I really thought, as a truly objective person, that we should have scored a little higher, because our kids just stepped up to the plate. The show looked fabulous. I could not think, I thought top 3. No way less than 3. So I'm sure the scores were 5 to 10. I don't even know, but they did fabulous.
The music was, I was right in the front row. I always go down there in the front, and the music was the best. I think we've gone 8 or 9 years or something like that. The music was the best I've heard. And to step up the new class, and I asked Corey, was it all because of the band tower? And he said that really helped a lot, because they could really see the show and everything else, but the music that day was fabulous. I just want to echo those thoughts. It was outstanding.
And I didn't want to root against Greenwood because they gave us such a nice gift,
Exactly.
but I didn't know. It was a great show.
Again, I want to thank Nancy for her continued service, and we will miss you.
Sweet.
Yeah, our whole community truly appreciates.
Well, I think it's been an honor to serve the community.
And welcome,
I
Erin.
learned so much more about how a school system is run, all the behind the scenes.
And our board meetings are always open, so you can always attend.
Let's do that sometime.
Please
Well, I
do.
miss you guys.
And we look forward to working with Aaron Lamb.
So I'm still gonna be a Southsider, so.
Okay. Reminder, next Monday, 4:30 to 7 is our community Thanksgiving dinner.
Come one, come all.
Come on.
Invite your neighbors and friends.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn this evening?
I will.
Okay, thank you, April. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Principals, if you could